Starting in 2015, students who are admitted into the University of Tennessee receive an acceptance letter and even get to hear Rocky Top. When the park has record-setting visitation numbers, it's also good for the surrounding cities. More people are staying, eating, and shopping in places like Gatlinburg. The group has been coming here every year since 1996, always on the weekend for the Georgia-Tennessee game. All three SGA campaigns have their own stances on how to improve our university, ranging from topics like sexual assault to diversity and inclusion at UT.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jack Keenan.
And I'm Haley Burton. 2016 is an important election year, but some students are finding it difficult to register to vote. Thank you, Taylor. If you're turning to your heater for some extra warmth this winter season, there's something to keep in mind: carbon monoxide poisoning. As UT Today reporter Lindsay Lemrick reports, Fort Sanders could be a problem area for this silent but deadly killer.
In addition to informing listeners about traffic and news, Pete also supports local businesses by doing short advertisements during his traffic dates. He's also the founder of Metro Skywatch Traffic. Be sure to follow UT Today on Facebook and at UT_Today TV on Twitter. You can also visit our website, uttodaytv.com. As several Vols are leaving this semester, there are also many more beginning their first college classes in just a few short months. Every year, UT's freshman class is smarter and larger, and this year is no exception. With UT shooting to be in the top 25 of public universities around the country, you would imagine that it would be harder for incoming freshmen to be accepted, but that may not be the case. 2/3 of students that apply to UT are admitted, which is a record number. Current freshman Carrie Grace Pody says most of her friends were accepted.
I would assume that they're trying to be more competitive, but I've just not heard a whole lot of people really getting denied by the university.
Pody's advice to incoming freshmen is that it's not just about your test scores, it's also what you do outside of the classroom.
A lot of people have high GPAs, a lot of people make good ACT scores, but what it is your involvement and your commitment to being a student.
Starting in 2015, students who are admitted into the University of Tennessee receive an acceptance letter and even get to hear Rocky Top. Director of Undergraduate Academic Advancement, Dr. Tom Broadhead, says it's not necessarily getting harder to be accepted into UT, but they do see a difference in the applicants each year.
Each year we also see that the overall quality of our applicant group is increasing, which is great.
He also emphasizes that the card itself is a personal message to an applicant and their families.
Who would not want to decide to enroll at UT if they got a music card that played Rocky Top?
Along with a high retention rate from freshman to sophomore year, UT has the highest graduation rate of any public college or university in the state of Tennessee. For UT Today, I'm Haley Burton. The next step for upcoming freshmen is to attend orientation, create their schedules, and set up housing plans. Freshmen starting this year on a traditional 4-year plan will graduate in 2020. UT's study abroad program just got a whole lot hotter. I'm talking about Sydney, Australia. That's right, an entire semester in the land down under. This trip takes studying abroad to a whole new level. Not only did journalism student Lucas Cooper have the time of his life, he also documented his adventures in Sydney.
I've skydived, I've bungee jumped, I've done the Great Barrier Reef, and pretty much everything else in my life is just going to seem mundane.
14 students were chosen for the College of Communication and Information Global Scholars Program in its inaugural year. UT Comm Studies professor Dr. Laura Miller was also able to go to Sydney and teach a cultural communications class that gave the students a hands-on experience in another culture.
We covered a lot of different topics relating to how communication may vary by culture. The students would always bring stories to class because they were seeing all of this on an everyday basis. So they were able to go out into the workplace and then come back into class and say, oh my gosh, this happened, and we would be able to then talk about kind of the differences in that.
Public relations student Kaylee Groover, who just got back from Australia, says along with her internship, the class taught by Dr. Miller really helped her understand Australian culture.
The intercultural communications class was great. I mean, it really helped me to observe my surroundings and to be aware of all the different cultural differences.
Rising senior Austin Stevenson says that she chose to study abroad in Australia for next year's trip because of the extended opportunities the trip offers.
I'm looking forward to doing an internship abroad. I think it's like that really sets this study abroad program aside from all the others, because most study abroad programs you just take classes. In this one, we're doing an internship along with classes.
Speaking of internships.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm the intern at Polka Dot PR in Bondi. In my internship at Polka Dot PR, I work with 7 other women on a team. We represent consumer brands in Australia, and we help them get brand recognition as well as launch their businesses.
Hi, my name is Tiana Castillo, and I work for the nonprofit School for Life. Basically what we do is we offer quality education to a lot of communities in Uganda. So we do vocational schooling for adults.
Maybe students on next year's trip will have just as many adventures as this year's crew. For UT Today, I'm Haley Burton. Lamar Burton was diagnosed with Alzheimer's about 3 years ago. His wife Dolores Burton passed away 7 years ago due to the same disease. Their son Rick and his wife Angie made sure to keep Dolores at her home, and it was now time to do the same for Lamar, who they called Poppy.
We had to make sure that somebody was always here with him. If we didn't have a sitter, if my son had a baseball game, one of us would have to stay here with Lamar.
Before he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, Lamar had to stay at a local life care center for rehab for his hip. After waking up almost every night to a call from one of the nurses saying Poppy was trying to escape, Rick and Angie knew that Poppy was unhappy there.
Being here in our house, he was familiar with the surroundings, and he didn't try to escape. He knew he was at home with family.
The Burtons are not alone. Many families endure the same struggle, and little are informed of the resources available to them right down the road. Linda Johnson, Director of Programs at Alzheimer's Tennessee, says they are there to help.
Usually, especially in the earlier stages, people do better in their own environment. They feel like that's more natural for them, and families have a hard time making that decision to go into a facility.
Although there isn't a known cure for Alzheimer's, Johnson says there are things caregivers can do.
Knowing about their history, their likes, their dislikes, respect, those kind of things are very important.
Alzheimer's Tennessee offers workshops to those caregivers who sacrifice so much for their loved one. They often need an outlet to cope.
Alzheimer's Tennessee was really amazing. They answered so many questions for us, and when we didn't know what to expect or when everything was over, they helped us cope. They just offered a lot of support, and they just really came through for us. He just seemed happier.
For UT Today, this is Haley Burton reporting.